During the height of COVID, my nanny, who had always been the life of family gatherings, was left alone in her apartment. To combat this, she would sit on the porch while we played in the yard. We waved, we shouted conversations from across the lawn, but the physical distance was nothing compared to the loneliness she felt. For someone who thrived off of hugs, laughter, and the chaos of a full house, it was as if the world had suddenly gone silent. This made me realize how often we unintentionally isolate the elderly, not just during the pandemics, but in everyday life. Today, using the Rotary four-way test, we will examine our treatment towards the elderly. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? When we examine our treatment of the elderly, I think it is easy to discover that growing old should never be a regret, because it is a privilege denied by many. So let's start with, is it the truth? As a society, we often spread stereotypes about aging, portraying older adults as frail, out of touch, or a burden. But in reality, they are vibrant, knowledgeable, and capable. A 2022 study from the Pew Research Center found that over 40% of people age 65 and older regularly volunteer in their community, proving that retirement is the beginning of a new role in society. By clinging to untruthful stereotypes, we fail to recognize the value of their wisdom and experience. So stop thinking of their gray hair negatively and start thinking of it as wisdom highlights. Next, is it fair to all concerned? Are we treating our elderly with the equity they deserve? Sadly, many older adults face ageism in the workplace, healthcare, and even in their families. According to the World Health Organization, ageism affects 1 in 2 people globally, limiting opportunities and impacting mental health. Companies will often hire a younger employee so they can pay less and believe they bring in high energy. The offerings of an older employee is often dismissed, and this is unfair. Fairness means that every person, regardless of age, is treated with dignity, respect, and equity. Younger does not mean better. As my nanny used to say, if we don't have anything nice to say, perhaps we shouldn't say it at all. In fact, our interactions with older adults should build goodwill and better friendships. But too often, we are consumed by our busy lives and neglect meaningful connections with elderly family members or neighbors. According to the National Statistic for Health, nearly 60% of elderly are not visited in nursing homes. My nanny cherished the days when I would visit her after school. One of the most meaningful ways that we can build goodwill and better friendships is by truly listening, especially to those who have lived long enough to see the world change. My nanny was a world into history. One of her most favorite stories was a road trip in 1965 when she was stuck in traffic in Alabama. She couldn't figure out why she couldn't cross the bridge. It was until later she realized that she had crossed paths with history. The Selma into Montgomery March, led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Stories like this, funny, unexpected, and sometimes powerful, are how we build friendships and share stories. I was busy and it was hard to find time to visit, but connections are needed. Simple acts like sharing a conversation or listening to stories can offer assistance. A report from the American Psychological Association found that intergenerational connections improve empathy and reduce loneliness for both young and old. Remember, inside every older person is a younger person wondering what happened. It is not okay that seniors are missing out on crucial friendships and being left alone. In fact, our current treatment of the elderly is not beneficial to all concerned. We must invest in programs like elder care, senior centers, and intergenerational events. In a society where teens are struggling with mental health, companies that match generations improve both. Mental Health Foundation finds the surprising 40% of teens feel lonely, just as the older generation. And a report from in the National Library of Medicine finds that communities that include seniors in mentoring programs report stronger bonds and higher levels of community engagement. When we uplift the elderly, we both win. After all, one day we'll be the ones yelling at the TV because the remote won't work, only to realize it's our phones. In conclusion, the four-way test challenges us to rethink our approach towards the elderly. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? It is time for us to honor our seniors, not for just who they were, but for who they are and the valuable input they give. Growing old is a privilege, and those who earn their wisdom streaks should be celebrated. My nanny isn't with us anymore, but you cannot convince me that she deserved to be treated or valued any less than a beautiful, priceless work of art. Thank you.